Ooh, Bad Larry.
Welcome back, Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and today we're checking out X Factor number 13. This may be one of my favorite covers of the X Factor series so far. I mean, if Jean Grey as Dark Phoenix doesn't get your gander, I don't know what does. I love how all the versions of Jean Grey are so massive and Cyclops is small. He's trying to battle them. It's very symbolic. I think it just shows how big of an impact this person and character has in Scott Summers' life. And no matter what version, she's a huge part of his life and seems to consume him. Years ago, a battle between robot and mutants ignited a cataclysmic explosion that destroyed an orbiting observatory. Wreckage from that observatory was hurled into space, and in that wreckage was a twisted slab of metal, all that remained of the robot giant Master Mold. Master Mold was no ordinary robot. He was created to pursue and destroy superhuman mutants. He was imprinted with the brain engrams of his creator. In all but body, he became Stephen Lang. And though nearly destroyed, Master Mold survived, with all of Lang's knowledge, his intelligence, his obsessions, his hatred, and his secrets. For a while, he tumbled in a decaying orbit, and eventually he fell to Earth. Master Mold has crashed in the frigid waters of Alaska's Bering Strait. Everyone at X Factor Complex seems to be recovering and having a good time except Scott Summers' Cyclops. Cyclops tells everyone he ain't got time to dick around playing no ball games. He's got to head back to Alaska and find his wife Maddie and his son Nathan. But before he leaves, he has to head to the hospital to say goodbye to Jean and Angel one last time. Who knows how long he'll be gone? Who knows how long this mission is going to take? Cyclops is realizing his personal life is a S show while he's looking at pictures of Maddie and his family on the way to the hospital. Cyclops is saying it's Alaska or bust. He's going to find his wife and son and try to put his life right. But Jean is alive. He still loves her. How can he fit her into his life as well? In this scene, we're seeing Jean Grey having a pity party. She's boo-hooing to Angel about Scott and her's relationship and the loss of her telepathy, all while Angel is sitting in the bed. His wings are basically useless. He's probably never going to fly again. He's like, hello, I'm the one injured here. I'm the one in the news that they're talking about X Factor being a financier. But no, let's talk about you, Jean Grey. Let's talk about your problems. Angel is the one trying to console Jean Grey, even though he's the one in the hospital bed. He may even die from his infection. I mean, I love Jean Grey, but she's being a little self-absorbed right now. And she brings back up Scott Summers, saying that Scott was supposed to come to the hospital. Where is he? She looks out the window and sees that he's leaving. Angel ain't getting no respect from Jean Grey right now. Scott decided that he wasn't even going to go up to see Angel and Jean Grey. He was just going to bounce and let him be. But Jean Grey ran down and stopped the cab with her telekinesis. She still truly loves Scott, but knows that he has a mission to go find Maddie and basically says goodbye, it seems like for the final time. I love these two. I love these two as a couple. I love their relationship. I love their drama. And I understand why Scott has to do what he has to do. He did marry the woman, had a child with Maddie, so, it's only the right thing to go and try to find the woman. Meanwhile, in the Alaskan waters, the Master Mold is awake now, awake and aware. Many of his memory chips were destroyed in the fall, but he knows as much as he needs to. He knows the secret, and he knows his hatred, and for now, that's going to be enough. As Scott Summers soars over the Manhattan skyline on his way to Anchorage, Alaska, in the hospital below, Cameron Hodge is delivering Angel a subpoena? Remember in the last episode, Warren Worthington III, aka Angel, has asked Cameron Hodge to transfer his will in case he dies to have all his money go to X Factor. But now Angel has to appear before a federal judge on the charge of fraud, stating the way that Warren had set up X Factor, hiding his money and hiding his financial support for X Factor. Cameron Hodge is a lawyer, but says that he can't help him in this situation. He has to get different lawyers. This Cameron Hodge is a slippery, sneaky son of a gun. So not only is Angel physically busted up, he's emotionally busted up, and now he's got financial and legal woes to deal with. To make a note, it is also kind of crummy that Scott Summers is deciding to abandon Angel right now when he does kind of need him most. He's one of his best friends to go on this personal journey to find Maddie, his wife, and his son, but I get it. It's just poor timing. Scott rocks up to his house and sees that there's a for sale sign. Maddie is leaving him. He feels deeply alone, but he's used to that feeling. Alone like when his mom and dad died in the plane crash, with just him and his brother Alex. And alone when his brother Alex was adopted away and Scott had to go to the orphanage. And he says he doesn't want to leave his son Nathan alone the way that he was left alone as a child. Scott's key doesn't work. Did Maddie change the lock? No problem. I blast to open. Well, I do say, my good sir, have you hit the subscribe button yet? It'd be prudent if you would. Yes, Charles, it'd be lovely if you hit the subscribe button, and also smash that like button while you're at it. Thank you, good sir. Have a good day and a cup of tea. While off the coast of Alaska, a mutant has used his power so intense that even the Master Mold's damaged receptors register it. He compares it to his scanner profiles, and he knows that mutant is part of the secret. He's one of the 12, one of the strong, a pivotal mutant around whom others will gather. Obviously, Master Mold's detected Scott Summers. Cyclops used his power. Cyclops is one of the strong. And Master Mold's program has determined that he must destroy Cyclops. Cyclops is looking around his house. There's nothing. Maddie's gone. There's no furniture. He gets a call. It's Hank from X Factor Complex. The Beast is telling Scott that he hates to bother him, but he promised Jean that he'd call Cyclops. It's about Angel. Angel isn't healing. The publicity is bad. The court order, he doesn't know what to do. Scott tells Hank that he needs to suck it up, that he's got his own problems he's dealing with in Alaska. He'll be back when he's back. And all the new mutants that are in X Factor Complex are getting on the Beast's nerves. He's about to give them all a little whooping, especially that Boom Boom. She's a bit of a menace. Meanwhile, on an offshore oil rig in the Bering Strait, much of Master Mold has been destroyed. Shape, memory, conscience, empathy, pity, all gone, burned away in his fall from the heavens. But Lang built him once. Now Master Mold rebuilds himself from the debris of the destroyed rigging and the shreds of knowledge in his demolished mind. Back in Alaska, Scott is trying to get some answers from the real estate agent. She says that on the day that Scott left for Manhattan, someone named Mr. Summers, with all the right paperwork, put the house up for sale. But Scott's like, no, I'm Mr. Summers. And she calls the cops on him. Scott goes with the cops to the police station to file a report. But the cops, like always, are pretty useless. There's no even record of Madeline Pryor or Nathan in the system, and the cops are wondering if they even exist. They're no help at all to Scott. 300 miles from Anchorage, the Master Mold lurches from the water. He can no longer fly and has not yet found equipment to repair that system. No matter for how he needs information, knowledge to replace the memories that he lost. His newly constructed hand blasters are working perfectly. Excellent. They've gained him access to the computers. He remembers little, but he knows his foe. He will need every shred of information, every ounce of sophistication if he is to defeat him. Master Mold joins with the computer, which leads to other computers, which leads to others. He drinks the world dry of its knowledge. He's almost ready to begin. Scott must be going crazy. He's at North Star Airways, an airport, where Madeline Pryor is a pilot there. But the guy at the desk says that they have no record of her being there or employed there. Scott's getting frustrated. He tells old mate to check the file drawer for Pryor and for Summers. The guy says he only sees Scott Summers and no record of Madeline at all. Scott's getting pissed. He puts him in the headlock, and then they throw him out on his ass. Something is super duper fishy. Everyone that should know Madeline Pryor is gone, and everyone's acting like she doesn't exist at all. By this point, Scott needs a stiff drink, and can you blame him? Everywhere he goes, everyone is saying that Madeline Pryor doesn't exist. Nobody knows her. All her friends are gone. He is at a dead end. And then he remembers his son, Nathan. He knows which hospital he was born in. He's about to go to that hospital, find out what's going on. Scott's looking to sneak into the hospital, but he uses his powers, which activates Master Mold's detection system. Master Mold now knows that Cyclops is in Anchorage. It's just a matter of time before the Behemoth and Scott Summers have some sort of interaction. But right now, Cyclops is dejected. His search for Nathan Summers' birth records are lost. It appears that Madeline Pryor didn't even give birth. No one has a record of it. What's going on? After a sleepless night, Scott Summers remembers that Madeline Pryor was in an Airplane accident, a crash landing in LA. That surely should be in the news somewhere. Madeline Pryor told Scott Summers that she was the sole survivor and walked away from that airplane crash. But when he's looking through the newspapers, there's no mention of it. But he does come across some newspaper articles about a wreck. Starcore 1, the plane carrying Jean Grey that plummeted to Earth. How are Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor connected? What's going on? Scott's thinking. Scott is trying to put two and two together. The day that Jean Grey died is the day that Madeline Pryor apparently walked away from her airplane crash without a scratch. Scott is thinking that the Phoenix power was able to duplicate Jean Grey and hide her at the bottom of the ocean and duplicate her body. Maybe the Phoenix Force could have done the same thing with Maddie. Things are about to get a little bit weird. Scott's at their house in Anchorage and going a little nuts. Scott is having hallucinations of Madeline Pryor and a little baby. And every time he sees this hallucination, he's blasting away, destroying their house. All these big optic blasts are also clues to Master Mold to the whereabouts of Scott Summers' exact location. He should cut it out. These hallucinations are really taking a toll on Scott's mental health. But to be honest, I wouldn't mind having some of these hallucinations, if you know what I mean. A final blast reveals a little baby rattler. Scott bends down, picks it up. Now he knows that Madeline Pryor and Nathan Summers are real. But someone has gone to an extraordinary effort to try and erase their identities. But why and who could it be? Cyclops vows to the end of the earth that he's going to uncover the truth and he's going to find her. The cops uncover a dead body that must have just washed up on shore. She's partially nude. She's red-headed. Could this be Madeline Pryor? We don't know yet. But what we do know is that Master Mold knows exactly where Cyclops is. Cyclops doesn't know he's coming. Cyclops is all by himself. He has no teammates. Can he even stand up to this Master Mold robot all by himself? We'll tune in tomorrow at episode 14 and find out what's going on with Cyclops, Master Mold, the Health of Angel, and who that red-headed dead body could be.